all that. I just got back, and we got a big NBA slate to go through tonight with pretty much everybody questionable. No change there in the NBA, I see. Obviously, we got some football this weekend for the playoffs. Should be fun. I will be in and out throughout the weekend, but we'll get some stuff done for you. And then I think she should be back later tonight or tomorrow. So that's sort of where we're at. I'm going to share my screen and sort of talk through this slate. It's really hard to talk through at this moment because we just have so many injuries that we're waiting on. But starting from the top, all right. So let's take a look. The first thing I like to do is just go see what we've got to do later because obviously Shea being questionable is always a big thing. I mean, plays more than most do in these situations, but I wouldn't shock me. And you already have some reasonable plays. So I might consider bumping up OKC because we have some later stuff that's going to, really, I'm just taking a quick look. Hawks have interesting. All right. We're seeing some more trade rumors. Obviously it's that time of year too. Anyway, OKC, obviously Shea being out would be a big boost. So maybe a little extra bump to Wiggins, Mitchell, Jalen Williams, probably Chet too. And Cason Wallace. But again, we'll see. I'm playing 119 lineups tonight. So I'm going to see what I want to do as we get a little bit more information. We're still kind of shy and lacking. Utah is not a team I play a ton of in general. I don't mind like the pieces if Bailey's out. I mean, it'll open up some things, but I don't think it's relevant enough to hold any positions for. Memphis, however, I cannot say the same. We have Williams, Aldama, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Ja questionable. Obviously, this is a huge spot. And I guess temporarily you could bump up Gigi Jackson and Jock Landale, maybe Cam Spencer as well, just speculating. But we're going to need to see what happens with these guys. Hopefully we can get some of that news before lock. But for right now, we're going to sort of be in wait and see mode. All right, moving over to Phoenix. Not really anything I think is actionable to wait on. I do think both Devin Booker and Jordan Goodwin are reasonable plays, especially if we lose some of those pieces from Memphis. I think you'll have a chance to take some shots in a game stack there with any of these guys, Williams, Goodwin, Brooks, Booker. I like Booker and Goodwin the best, but I don't mind taking a weird shot on Mark Williams because he's not going to be that owned at the center spot tonight. All right. Other spots, obviously a Okongwu with Atlanta is a pretty relevant piece. Bump to Jalen Johnson, obviously a bump to Kristaps if he's out. So we're still waiting on that. I could even see, probably not going to get to Gueye either way, but obviously an important piece of news. Obviously, Trey Murphy and Herb Jones is another good piece. Another thing you might do is bump up Derek Queen, probably Fears, and potentially Zion, to be honest with you. I don't think Zion is like the worst idea as a tournament play. And obviously, if you lose Trey Murphy, it could even become a better one. So I kind of think there's a little bit of interest there. But obviously, we have to wait on Trey Murphy. And hopefully, we're probably not going to have that stuff before lock. But you never know. And these are very healthy teams that I'm just sort of content to not really change a ton on. I would say that I like what Kawhi's been doing. Obviously, I think everybody does. I don't mind bumping up players in that spot. It's just not like a great situation, and it's not like you're getting like a great price for him, but I still think he's a little bit interesting. Kawhi is one I was considering as a differentiator. I just don't think I can quite get to the 10-1. But again, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. All right, Knicks. Nothing I'm going to go out of my way for. I'm sort of content to take what it gives me. I don't mind. I really don't mind anything, but there's nothing I'm looking to try and do with the Knicks. One guy I might bump up a little bit is Michael Porter Jr. We know he's got a range of outcomes and he's got a very high ceiling. I think it's not a bad idea to take a shot on him at home. So I do have MPJ as a guy I'm considering. Maybe certainly getting above the 1% or 0.5% from the field. Wouldn't take much to do that. So anyway, all right, moving over to Orlando. I'm gonna have to get that call right when I get out of this. Orlando doesn't really do anything for me tonight. There's nobody I'm out of my way to try to play. I don't think it's the worst idea to take a shot with Paolo or Desmond Bane at super low ownership. I just think there's better plays in the slate. Speaking of some of the which, Jaylen Brown, I think you could argue for similar argument as Kawhi, right? It's pretty much the same kind of a play. I don't mind a little bit of Jaylen Brown. I don't mind a little bit of Derek White. Derek White would be my favorite here against, not the A team of the Nuggets. And again, nothing I'm really going out of my way for. Obviously, we have all these guys who are questionable, probable now. I still like Jamal Murray here. I know that it's not a cheap price tag, but it's not the worst idea in the world to take a shot. I just think there's some later plays that if we don't know about, it's going to be hard for me to prioritize him ahead of some of those later plays. But I could see him going completely bonkers tonight. All right, Philadelphia, Washington. Philadelphia side, Embiid, actually, I think very reasonable. What do we have in 4 minutes wise? I'm just going to check here in case I'm missing something. 30. At 30, I think it's reasonable to take some shots with Embiid. I don't think I'm going to end up with as high as 33% that I got on my last run, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was around 20%. Same thing with Edgecombe. I always like sort of being nearer with the field, and I never mind taking shots with Maxey. Again, it feels a little bit that 98 to 90 to 10-1, that no ownership. Maxey, Leonard, Jamal Murray at 9,700 also. I think that those guys, that can win slates for you are kind of interesting at low ownership, and you're going to get some serious chalk on a slate like tonight. And I think that you could take some of those 10K-ish plays as ways to get away from the other chalk. All right, Washington side of the ball. Obviously, we're missing some pieces. No McCollum, no Kaishan George, no Middleton, no Whitmore. Champagny, I always feel nervous playing him. There's a range of outcomes there. I'm not going to end up with 90%. I probably end up with somewhere in the 50% range, assuming that he does in fact start. Same thing with Bob Carrington. I don't think I'm going to end up this high, but I will be probably north of 60% at the moment. Again, more information out there to have. So I kind of would rather not just be all in on these Washington guys. Also, they can play some weird lineups, and they have enough depth to they don't have a ton of bodies, but they've got enough bodies to actually, can they run 11? Yeah, if they want to, or 12 even. So it's a little nerve wracking just to get involved with all the Washington chalk. I probably end up a little lower on it than where it currently sits, but I'm still probably ahead of where the field is projecting, just because I think it's the right thing to do. I just think there's some later spots that maybe we could talk ourselves into bumping down a couple of these projections a few points and playing for the later stuff. I think that's totally reasonable. All right. Cade, obviously being questionable. We need to know that before we can decide anything. But either way, Paul Reed and Isaiah Stewart are very strong plays. I will be above the field on Isaiah Stewart if that's where he ends up. And I will probably be near the field on Paul Reed. I think I like Stewart a little bit better than Reed for what it's worth tonight. And you get a little discount and you don't have to take up a center spot. So obviously, if Cade's out, we have to revisit the situation. Bulls side, Buzelis is going to project really well. We obviously have they're missing a bunch of bodies. Cody White was the last one today. I like Buzelis. You guys know how big of a guy I am. Playing him as chalk is not something we've had to worry about much this year, but I don't mind it. I probably end up a little bit above the field on that one. I do like Dosunmu a little bit better than he's projecting. He's one I don't mind bumping up a little bit. And I wouldn't mind a shot on Trey Jones at low ownership. Probably going to be slightly underweight Vucevic, but I certainly am not going to argue against it. I'm probably going to end up. Actually, no, I'll probably end up around that 20% range. I think that's a reasonable number. Brandon Miller downgraded to questionable. I think there's a good chance he doesn't play. Now, what is that going to mean? I think that you can take some shots with LaMelo. I think you can take some shots with Knipple. I think you can take some shots with Bridges. Let's see how the projections update if, in fact, Brandon Miller is out, which I think he would be based on the fact that it's a midday downgrade for an injury-riddled guy. No one's going to play Toronto, and it's a really good matchup. I don't know what to say because I'm not in love with Toronto, but I wouldn't mind getting ahead on this projected sort of team ownership. I think quickly at low ownership is somewhat interesting. And I think that my next favorite would probably be Scotty Barnes, but I don't mind a little bit of Brandon Ingram. I think this is a spot where you could take some shots, and it doesn't take much to get above the field on this Toronto side, and I like the situation for him in Charlotte tonight. Obviously with no Podol and Colin Murray Boyles. I was getting him wrong before I left. He went off the other night. Might have to revisit that one a little bit, but we're still waiting on information. Obviously, a lot of stuff to go through. So this is probably just going to be a quick show to say what's up. We're back. We'll be doing more of these. We'll have sheets back, so it'll be more fun. And we'll probably do the NBA shows a little bit later because we're still waiting on so much information. I don't know when the information. I don't know when some of this stuff's going to come through, but I will update everybody in the Discord for my exact ownerships. And yeah, if there's any questions or thoughts, please let me know. So this is from the last build run, what I was getting. I think it's going to be a lot different, but again, still waiting on a lot of these. How many Q tags do we have left? Let's see, it's a lot. Well, we got all the probables. We actually have like, I guess only 5, but 4 of them are in one game. No, wait, what happened? I'm missing something. Something's missing here. Unless something happened just while we were on air here. Let me just double check Memphis. Yeah, because Memphis has 4. Why was there? What did I do? I just scrolled past some of them. So, all right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 legit queues, or still effective queues. So a lot to go through. I will update everybody with my exposures as soon as I get a better feel for the slate and where we're going. But looks like somebody else just announced out. Let me just double check as we're on. Kongwu has been ruled out. So we're going to wait for the projections to update and go from there. But I will update everybody with my exposures in our Discord channel. Good luck to everybody. Hope you guys have a great new year. Let's have a big